What's up people, today I'm going to talk about how I ran 48 miles in 48 hours. So I'm going to try and keep this video not really scripted. I just want to kind of make it natural and just go through things in the context of time from when I started training for this till literally the last run, and even to how I felt after I completed the challenge. Coming up to this challenge, I knew that it would be key to have the best training I could. So what my training consisted of was I was trying to focus on more frequency with the running. So I was practicing this route, so the 4-mile route that I did 12 times over the 48-hour period. So in the training that I did, about a month of training, just running this route as much as possible, sometimes twice a day, sometimes trying to practice running the 4-mile run and then having that 4-hour period, then going out again. So I could just get familiar with, the timing and how I felt in between that 4-hour period, and how food would affect me, etc. I wanted to really get familiar with this route, so I knew, all the hills, all the downhills, all the turns, how long it would take me, how I would feel at different parts of the run, so I could really get familiar with it, because I didn't just want to obviously go on a run that I've never done before and discover there's some massive, hill that I didn't know. So really just tried to get familiar with the run, so I knew everything about it, and I wanted to get my technique to as perfect as possible. It's never going to be perfect, and I'm still young, so I'm still learning about the whole running technique. I've still got a lot to learn, but I was really trying to focus on getting the technique as efficient as possible, because I knew that would be absolutely key over the challenge. As well, it was important for me to do some research as well about this challenge, because I've never done it before, so it was unknown for me, this kind of thing where you're running through the night, you're running on low sleep with short interval periods in between each run. So I had to research that, and I did. So it turned out you've got to be as organised as possible, and that was something that I really took to. It's like, okay, yeah, I need to get on that and be organised, because turns out you need to have as much rest as possible in between each run. So I started thinking about, how I was going to eat, how I was going to shower, my clothes, my shoe situation, my sleeping situation, etc. I knew the food obviously was going to be important. That's where I was getting all my energy from. So I really just thought about it on a personal level, because everyone's different foods work for different people. It's just how it works on an individual level. So for me, fruit kind of works really well for me. So I knew bananas were going to be a big key one, because it was something I could just grab and eat and didn't have to worry about any cooking or anything like that. I did make up a big batch of potato and pepper soup and white rice, just so I knew I had some kind of dense food there just in case I needed it, which I did end up having just 2 bowls of throughout the 48-hour period. But I quickly learned, which I'll get into later, that you don't really need to eat that much because it will affect your stomach. But I learned that on the challenge. Now coming up to the night before the run, I wanted to get all my clothes sorted, so I got everything laid out, so it was all on the floor, ready for me, so I could get in after the run or before my next run, just pick it up nice and easy, not having to worry about, oh no, I don't have enough clean t-shirts, I'm gonna have to do a wash, because that would be the last thing you want to do when you're sleep deprived and you've got to run in 30 minutes time. 2 days before, the day before and the night before, I was really quite nervous. Not throughout the whole day, but I'd have times where I'd be like, have I done enough training? Is everything going to be all right? Can I do this physically, kind of thing. On the Friday night, so the night before, I managed to get some sleep, managed to get a few hours, but I woke up a few times. Just because I was worried if I was going to miss my alarm, that would be my worst nightmare if I missed my first run, because it was at 4 a.m. I don't really wake up at that time. So I was, like I said, full of anticipation, and I was doubting myself. So what helped me to overcome that doubt was to literally, because when you doubt yourself, you're trying to kind of fight with yourself. You're trying to oh no, it is going to be all right because I've done this, I've done that. But I kind of just thought, yeah, well, this challenge, it could fail, it's within the realms of possibility. I could fail, or I could get an injury, who knows what could happen, I could get a stomach problem. And I just told myself, there will be a problem at some point, you will encounter a problem somewhere, whether it's a small problem with your big toe, or a massive problem, you've torn your calf, or whatever it may be, there will be a problem somewhere down the line. So it's okay, I've accepted that. So it's all right, I know what's ahead of me now. So that kind of helped me get to sleep. How I was going to manage my rest/sleep schedule was, I set all my alarms to go off 30 minutes before the time of my run. So whether it was 12 afternoon or 8 p.m, it would always go off 30 minutes before that. So woke up at 3:30 on the Saturday morning, and like as soon as the alarm went off, I was like, boom, I'm awake. You know, it was like just got out of bed. You know, like how you see in the movies when someone has a nightmare, it's like, boom, got out of bed super fast. Got all my stuff on, got on my first run at 4 a.m, and I felt good, no problems. Was a bit cold, I didn't really wear enough, but I learned that lesson on my first run, so that was good. So yeah, first run went well, came back, had a bit of fruit. Obviously I needed to keep up on the hydration, so I made sure I had like loads of bottles of water near me so I could just swig them whenever I needed it. Literally came back, got changed, went to bed straight away, like, because I knew, right, I need to sleep, you know, that's going to be key, so went to bed straight away. The first half of the first day went really well, no problems, felt motivated. My friend Reza, he met me on 2 of the runs, like during midday, which gave me a bit of a boost as well. And when I finished the run after 4 p.m, I think I've done about 3 or 4 runs by that point, then like I kind of ate too much before the 8 p.m. run, and I noticed that when I woke up at 7:30 before I embarked on my 8 p.m. run, I felt like, oh no, I've eaten way too much, like kind of stomach pain kind of thing. So I knew, right, I need to lighten my portions and have more fluid. So from the 8 p.m. to the midnight run, I didn't have any food, just stuck to water, and that played to really to my advantage. And that just shows, you know, why it's key to adapt to the problem that you encounter, and that's something that you can transfer into life itself. Like, it's not just applies to running, it applies to anything. Like when you encounter a problem, like, because a problem will arise, it's almost definite that at some point, like I said, a problem will come up. So it's important that you adapt to it in the proper way, and don't be too scared to adapt as well. Like, don't feel like, oh, I've got to stick to this plan, you know, I said I was going to run every run in this, so I've got to run every run in this, even if my feet are torn to pieces and I'm going to blow my knee out. It's like, no, I'm going to do it in this. No. So up to 8 p.m. on the first day then, I was almost at the halfway point. Like I said, coming up to that 8 p.m. run, that was probably one of the lowest points, because I wasn't halfway yet and it felt like I've already ran a lot. And it was like, oh, now it was dark as well, because obviously at 4 p.m. it's still light. Makes a difference when you run in the light versus at night time and you're low on sleep. So the 8 p.m. run was difficult, but I managed to do it, and I kind of knew, you know, sometimes I'll have to listen to music before I set out there when I'm getting ready, etc., to kind of get my energy going, which I like to do sometimes, but I knew I don't want to listen to music on the run, because me personally, I can't focus when I've got music on, and I know that's just something, it's completely individual. Like, if you need music to run, then have music to run, like, because the most important thing is that you're running in the first place, or you're going to the gym in the first place. Like, even if it means you need music, that's okay, you know, because you might need that thing, and then later down the line you can progress to not needing the music. So it's all about your own journey and your progression. Got to midnight, so finished that run, and I was officially, I thought I was like past halfway point, so that was a big boost. And I had support as well. I had two people running with me at midnight as well. Reza, my best mate, he came to surprise me at midnight. Literally knocked on my door, didn't know who it was, and it was Reza. It was like, wow, like that was a big boost. So it felt good after the halfway point, but I ate too much, because I felt like, oh, I've not eaten since before 8 p.m, so I need to have a lot of food now. Ate too much, went to bed, and you kind of knew I ate too much, then woke up I ate too much after 4 a.m, and then after woke up at about 7:30 later that morning, I knew I ate too much. Like, I had really bad stomach pain and a lot of wind. I went to the toilet a few times, but again, stuck to fluid, and then it really stuck in with me, like, you know, okay, you can't eat too much, you've done it twice now, like, you need to really just think about that, like, no more biscuits or anything, you know, like, stick to the clean food. So that's what I did. The second day went a lot better than the first day, because again, I felt like I was on the downhill now. I was almost finished, but it really felt like a long time, like, because you're going to sleep or resting and waking up, then going back to sleep, then resting, like, you kind of feel like it's been multiple days in a way. Then I was starting to get into my rhythm with the running. I got into the routine of the 4-hour period, and I started feeling kind of good. Like I started feeling like, you know, the more I was running, the better I was feeling, and I felt like, yeah, I can keep this up. Like I knew I could keep this up for, if I had to, longer than the challenge itself. So that was a good feeling. And in terms of my running technique, obviously your legs will kind of start to get tired once you've done, like, coming up to about, I think, 30 miles or so. Like halfway through that second day is when you're about 30 miles / 35-ish miles. Again, going back to the point of being adaptable through this challenge, I did set off running in, I'll just show you, these shoes here. So if you can call them shoes, they're sandals. So here they're called Lunar Roots. So they're basically based on the Tarahumara running footwear that they use, but it's obviously like a modernisation of that, because the real ones are made from car tyres. So this is like a modernisation with a long leather strap, as you can see. So I kind of thought, right, I want to run every run in these because they felt really good for me. They felt really comfortable and my technique was good in them. But as I got to the 10th run, so like before the 10th run, because the past few runs, like, I was feeling a bit of pain in the bottom of my right foot, like just in the arch of my right foot, and a little bit of a very, very, very dull ache in the right knee, which I knew is like, that is a sign of a problem. And that's the beauty of when you run minimalist or barefoot, like, you'll get certain signals from your body, like, oh, there's pain in this part of my foot. Why is that? Because I'm landing more on my right leg than my left leg. Okay, so I need to make that change. I need to change my technique. I need to run softer. So it's all about running softer. So that's what I did. So luckily, a few weeks ago, I invested in these sandals. So these, as you can see, are super thin. See, like, they're only a few millimeters, and this part of the sandal is like really soft, this black part here, and this is kind of like the hard rubber, if you can call it hard. It's very flexible, as you can see. So I made the change and wore these on my last 2 runs. So I changed from basically this, which is a slightly thicker sandal, don't know if you can see that on the video very well, this slightly thicker one to a thinner one, because as you go thinner you have less in between your foot and the ground, and that is key, because what it allows you to do is it allows you to get more feedback, and it's something that I have played with and experimented with for a while, and I can really, it's, you know, it is true. Like, you get more feedback the less you have in between your foot and the ground. If you think about it on a scale from, you know, like 10-inch heels to barefoot, you know, the closer you are to the barefoot, the more feedback you've got. By getting more feedback, my foot would read that and then make adjustments and provide more stability for my knees, my calves, my hips, my whole body. So because my foot was more stable, my whole body was more stable, basically, and I could then listen to my foot better and make the adjustments where I needed to. So yeah, and it worked, basically. So by doing this, my foot pain went away, and my knees went, my right knee, like I said, it wasn't, the dull ache went straight away, and I felt a lot lighter on my feet, so that was a bonus. And last point on the shoes as well, I was using Vaseline before each run, so I was like Vaselining up the trigger points, which I kind of knew about from just my experience in running. I knew, oh, this point on the sandal kind of causes a bit of friction, so I was just making sure that I Vaselined all them trigger points so I wouldn't develop any blistering, and I was not holding back on the Vaseline, believe me. I was like layering it on just because I didn't want any blisters, and I didn't get any blisters, so it worked out. Okay, moving on now to a major point, and that is the things that helped me at the difficult points on this challenge. So what are the things that helped me get through the difficult points when I needed to summon up that motivation, summon up that vigor and that energy to get out there and run? Obviously, a major thing which helped me was the fact that I was fundraising, just thinking about the people that have donated and the fact that they're all putting the trust in me and their belief in me to embark on this challenge, embark into the unknown, and you know, conquer this challenge, and also how that money was going to be used, and that it was going to be given to people that need it, and it's going to be put to good use and help people's mental health. And as well, with the fundraiser, it would really help me to feel it in my heart, because I was literally doing this, like each movement I was making on the run itself throughout this whole challenge, it was in one way or another giving to someone or some other people that needed it. So that really helped me to kind of tune in and connect and just kind of really channel my heart into each run that I did. And as well, if you watch my video about why I chose to run this challenge that I posted a few weeks ago, you'll know that I talked about the fact that I made a list of 12 things that I'm grateful for in my life. So each one of the 12 things was dedicated to each one of the runs that I did, and in general as well. So I was thinking about all them things throughout the whole kind of period, but I wanted to make one thing for each run. And feeling that gratitude, like wow, like, because it was also a challenge, it was a mental challenge and a physical challenge for me to do this. And the fact that I was pairing it with the gratitude, like they went really well together. And from what I felt from this experience, the fact that with the gratitude, being grateful for something, it will give you power. Like that's what it felt like. It gave me energy and it gave me the ability to run when my body didn't necessarily want to, or when I didn't want to. And that list of 12 things that I made, it was just based around, if I can give you an overview without listing everything, it was basically about, you know, being able to move, being healthy, being able to experience, being alive, having freedom, you know, having things like water and food and shelter, those kind of things. So this brings us to 8 p.m. on the Sunday. So I just finished my run at 8 p.m. So I had one more run left at midnight to finish off the challenge. And ironically enough, the last run, I thought it would be the easiest, but it was one of the hardest because I was just so tired by that point, and the fact that it was coming up to midnight and I've already ran throughout the whole day, and I stayed up a little bit during the day as well because I felt like I had the energy for it. I felt great after I finished my 8 p.m. run because I knew I only had one left, but after I got some rest, lay down on my bed, had a little bit of a power nap, I woke up and it's about just before 11 and it was like I was so tired. I was just like, I got up, I remember just sitting on my bed just feeling so tired, like absolutely not destroyed, but I still felt like I could do it, but I was just absolutely flat. And obviously I know myself that when I wake up, when I'm on a challenge like this, I was gonna feel a bit groggy for a few 5-10 minutes. So I knew, right, I have to get up, just feel groggy, then get motivated again, get all your gear on. I made myself a coffee, got some light in my eyes, you know, stood up, did a bit of stretching, went downstairs as well, and because Reza he was going to finish off the run with me, so he was downstairs, and like going downstairs, just having a chat with him, like, or just people, like just having someone else like give you that energy to bounce off of, that will really lift up your spirit. And before I went on that run, I really just tried to feel everything and just really feel connected. And the fact as well that it was midnight, it was super quiet outside, there was barely any cars about, probably saw about 2 or 3 cars throughout the whole run. So I was just literally running on the roads, and don't worry about it, like there were long roads I could see in here, there was no cars anywhere. Like I was running on long roads, open dark night, and it was, wow, really amazing experience. So I just tried to, like I said, really connect and just align this last run with the whole experience and my fundraiser and my gratitude and just, you know, my running, my ability, just lining it all up, feeling that love in my heart, and just finishing it off with that last run. And that's what I did. So I finished the run in about 30 minutes, and when I finished, wow, I felt absolutely amazing. Like I felt ecstatic, and it's like I could feel like I was like just there, you know, I was completely there, and it was like power, and I did it kind of thing. It was an amazing experience. I was like standing out. It felt like I was just standing out. All right, so the last point I want to make in this video, because I won't keep you guys here for too much longer. It's already been a long video, as I know. Just want to finish and say, I just want to make one point about how I see running and how it impacted this challenge and how it helped me massively, and it's something I want to share with you guys. So what that is the fact that I try and see running whenever I'm thinking about long distance, because that's what I'm focusing on. I'm not focusing on speed or time or sprints, okay? That's just what I want to focus on, is the long distance aspect. So what helps me massively is to think about being unlimited when I run. So trying to not put any boundaries on myself, so not put any boundaries on my distance of a runner and what I'm capable of, because as soon as I put a boundary on myself, then I'm going to fit into that boundary. It's obvious. By putting the boundary in place, you're going to fit yourself into that boundary, okay? That's how it works. So by seeing yourself as, in terms of the running, as unlimited, you know, what does unlimited mean? It means there's no boundaries, you can go on forever. And of course, the human body has limits. I don't take that literally, okay? You will have limits, obviously, and it doesn't mean just go out and run 50 miles if you've never run before. You've got to, it's like a power source and a way of thinking that you kind of channel at the right time, and it's your whole perspective on running. So what I mean by being unlimited is, like I said, almost not to focus on the distance, even though I'm trying to focus on long distance, not actually really, that's just like a minor thing. Like what I'm trying to focus on is the feeling, the technique, the feeling of connection, the feeling of gratitude and appreciation when I run, the feeling of sharing that with other people, and running with nature, running with the earth, you know, being even just when you're out there running, just looking at the sun and just being grateful that it's even there. Do you know what I mean? Like even just seeing, you know, the fact that if the sun wasn't here, there wouldn't be any life on this planet, or, you know, things to that degree where you're going deep and you're really going deep into your soul and summoning up that energy from your soul. And this doesn't just apply to running. I've used this when I do martial arts as well, because martial arts is also a big part of my life, and it's something I've seen and I've tested and I've seen other people do. It's like, because sometimes when we train, we do something for a certain amount of time, right, or a certain amount of rounds, or a period of time. If you're focusing on, right, okay, let's say I'm going to train for 5 rounds, you'll subconsciously start at obviously the start point, which is you just starting off, and then until the last second of the last round, that's where you put your boundaries, okay? But if you start to think outside of that and you start to think, well, it's just 5 rounds, like it really, I can just hit pads for as long as I want, I can hit the bag as long as I want, like I can keep going, then you've just gone on to the next level, like you've just been elevated completely. And the same thing applies to the running. So if you're thinking about, oh, my max distance is 10k, like, you know, I really struggle getting past that point, it might be true, yes, that you might need to physically train yourself, you know, strengthen your feet, strengthen your legs, whatever your weakness may be, your technique, you might need to strengthen that and change that. But you also need to maybe change your mindset, because like I said, if you put in that boundary in place, you will conform to that boundary. I try to just give as much in this video from my complete experience as possible, trying to outline everything I did, things I encountered, things that helped me, etc. Because maybe it could help one of you watching. And on that note, I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, I'll say thanks for watching and take care, stay active guys, and just keep living your best life. Just keep living a simple life and being happy. All right guys, see you in the next video. Thank you.